Hey, writers, welcome in. Let's take a look at our first skill that we're going to talk about today. It's find your writing voice. Now, your writing actually has a voice. It's not a physical sound, but it's what it sounds like to your reader in their head. What do they visualize? What do they think of? And your writing itself gives you style, and it's also sort of like saying it's your vibe. Now, here's a sentence, and this particular sentence has no voice to it. It's really boring. Even the font is boring. The dog ran down the street. So, not much going on there. We're going to add some voice to this. Let's take a look at it now. That scruffy little dog zoomed down Main Street like a rocket on pause. A lot of cute stuff going on there. We added the word scruffy and changed the verb to zoomed and then said the dog was like a rocket on pause. Fantastic. So now we can start to picture that this dog is small, probably had not much going on in his life. He's scruffy, so he's not being taken care of. He's zooming, so he's got a reason, right? So he's either scared or happy. We're not sure. He's going down Main Street. We can start to picture that a little bit. That's more specific. For some people, Main Street might be in a small town doing a parade or something. So we're getting there. We're getting closer, but not quite yet. I'm going to show you some more parts of voice. There are three parts to actually writing with a really strong voice. And the first is using word choice, which seems kind of obvious. You want to pick words that really paint a picture. And so you want to be specific. If you are generic with things, your reader cannot visualize them. And that's your job as a writer, is to give them enough information to intrigue them, but to allow them to paint a picture in their head. The other part of voice, the second one, is emotions. Your emotional reactions are what are part of your voice, how you react to the world around you. So in this sentence, we changed it to zoomed. So now we start to realize, well, this dog is feeling something. We're not quite sure what it is yet. We're getting closer. So the third part to voice is excuse me, is perspective. You pause this and try to say that word 3 times fast. Perspective. Now, in this case, we're not there yet. We still need to dig a little deeper in order to figure out who is this story really talking about? Who is the narrator here? I'm going to show you how to do this. So in the story, who is it? Who is going to be our narrator? We're going to rewrite this in a different way. I bolt down Main Street like my tail is on fire. Yes, freedom is calling me. So now we have a different narrator, right? First of all, we say I, which means it's first person. And so who is I in this? Well, we know that the I has a tail. Sounds weird to say that, but that means that it's the dog. This is the dog's perspective. You can certainly write from the perspective of an animal. It's called personification, and we'll do that in another video. So you bolt down the street. Obviously, you're trying to get somewhere really fast for a reason. Still going down Main Street. The tail is on fire, so they really, really need to get going. It's not literally on fire. It says like my tail is on fire. So if it was on fire, you'd be going really fast. And then the dog says, yes, freedom is calling me. So if it's freedom, that means that maybe he was on a leash, perhaps. Maybe he didn't like his owners. So we're starting to understand who this character is a little bit better by using a perspective that digs deeper into their emotional reactions. So where do you start when you're going to write something with voice? You've got word choice, you've got emotions, perspective. Where do you go first with all of this? A lot of writers will start with word choice. They'll write something down and then they will say, okay, I'm going to add in some adjectives, strong verb, something specific. Boom, there we go. Problem with that is it doesn't actually pull the reader in and they don't find a reason to keep reading past those sentences. It's not engaging enough. So instead of starting with word choice, always start with perspective. You need to ask yourself, who is the narrator here? And what's their origin story? Like a Marvel movie, The plot is always about, their origin story and what happened to them in the past and how they view the world today. So think about that with your character. After you figure out who the narrator is, ask yourself, how do they feel about the world? Are they nervous? Are they scared? Are they happy, excited? Are they far too happy? Maybe they're bored all the time. So it's important to figure out how they interact with the world when they go out there. Then you're going to come to number 3, which is your word choice. So based on who they are and how they view the world, what are things that only they would notice? So if you have a character who is always happy, the things that they will notice and point out in their writing are things that make them happy. And if they're really bored all the time, they're going to constantly bring up things that are boring. So we tend to focus on what we already have perceived as our worldview. That's why we write stories, is to show how characters change. We don't want to read a story about a kid who is bored from day one and then bored on page 250 at the end. We want to see change. So here is your quick challenge. You're going to rewrite this sentence and add some voice. The sentence is, the teacher walked into the classroom. Boring sentence, boring font. But before you do that, there are some things I want you to consider. There's some information here we need to go over one more time. First, you have a teacher walking in the room. So who's going to narrate that scene? So you have to decide, are you going to be the teacher telling the story? Are you a student, a straight A student? Are you a student who just got back from detention? Those are 2 totally different perspectives on a teacher walking into the classroom. Maybe you're an eraser or a whiteboard or a coffee mug. Can you be an object and still have emotional reactions? Absolutely. Personification. So it's so much fun. So if you haven't written from the point of view of an object, try it. It's really fun to do. Then you're going to ask yourself, once I've chosen this narrator, how does this character feel in this moment? Is this like a really good thing that the teacher's walking in, or is there excitement? Is there worry, or is there a total sense of impending doom? So you're going to sprinkle in some emotional reactions from your character. And finally, what are things that only they would notice? Use specific nouns and verbs that show emotion. So if they really like their teacher, they might notice that they have on like really nice shoes or something. They'll notice things that they like. So try and figure out what they want to point out and use a verb that shows emotion. So if you're the teacher and if you saunter into the room, that's different than bolting into the room. So take a really good verb there. Before I let you go to do this, I want you to see this in action. I'm going to pull out a bit of writing from Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson book. This is the second one. They're fantastic because he has great voice. So let's look at this passage. My mom made blue waffles and blue eggs for breakfast. She's funny that way, celebrating special occasions with blue food. I think it's her way of saying anything is possible. Percy can pass 7th grade. Waffles can be blue, like little miracles like that. So Percy is reacting to his situation, and you can kind of start to see what kid he is. So he kind of, cuts himself down, like he thinks he might not be able to pass 7th grade, but he is passing it off with this confidence that, like, he's sarcastic, right? He can be funny about it, but that's how he points that out, is all these little things that his mom is doing that he thinks maybe are sarcastically done toward him. Okay, so your job is to rewrite the sentence, the teacher walked into the classroom. You're going to share it with others or put it below. You can make it funny or spooky or dramatic, whatever you want to do, but it needs to be what your character wants, not necessarily you. So whenever you change your character, the voice changes. So that's really important to remember. All right, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. May your notebook never be boring. Bye.